Beard finally broke his duck at Watkins Glen by taking his first victory of the season. With that out of the way, surely his sights must now be set on the championship lead. The gap is not insurmountable, but Jenkins continues to rifle off top 10 finishes. Richmond's bullring type nature will certainly be equally dangerous to everyone's consistency. And we'll see who it affects the most as we get ready to watch round 10 of the Ultimate Conquest Online Racing's Throwback Indycar Series, presented by 9-4 Motorsports. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Rocco Stallone. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Richmond Raceway is perhaps more well known for stock car racing, but IndyCar has been here multiple times. So to learn a little bit more about it, let's head down to our track guide.
Welcome to Richmond Raceway. Richmond is known as the action track, and it's real easy to see how. The unique D-shaped oval allows drivers to reach a lot of speed into turn 1. Richmond has long been known as a short track that races like a super speedway. With its multiple racing grooves and a history of some beating and banging, Richmond is a fan favorite and driver favorite as well. The Little Virginia short track has 14 degrees of banking in the corners, with 8 degrees awaiting the drivers on the front stretch. No matter what vehicle you drive here at Richmond, tight in the center is usually what you end up fighting the most, based around the fact that drivers are carrying such high speeds into the corners each and every single lap. Now, the best drivers would be the ones that you can be seeing working the brake bias to adjust as the track temperature changes. If you find yourself racing in the baking Virginia sun, corner exit will be your worst enemy. When the sun comes up and brings those track temperatures with it, the grip level at Richmond absolutely plummets. Richmond has been around for quite a while, tracing its roots back to the beginnings of NASCAR. With a recent renovation, it's prone to be a NASCAR for quite some time, which isn't a bad thing if you ask me. This has been our guide to the Richmond Raceway. Sit back and enjoy the show.
You see a little bit more about Richmond, but Rocco, I called it a bull ring. Maybe you could enlighten us a little bit more about some of the details about this place, though.
Yeah, Joe, especially with these cars, there's going to be a lot of elbows out racing, if you will. Less than a mile, it's 3/4 of a mile of a track. Not a lot of room for these guys. A lot of turning, shifting. They're going to be doing some shifting, a lot of braking. It's a challenging road course. It's a challenging oval that could feel like a road course. We have been at road courses, but this one is definitely going to be a more challenging version of some of the bigger ovals that we've already seen on the circuit, Joe.
That's for sure. There was a lot of talk coming into this about the drivers having a lot of difficulty with the setup here, but let's talk about those drivers and the championship as well. Taking a look at the driver points first. Paul Jenkins still leads the way. 69 points sounds like a lot, but you look at how many points they're racking up. Over 1,200 for Paul Jenkins already. So that's not the biggest of margins. It's a lot closer back to Dan Guerin behind Brian Beard, though, there in third place. Guerin and Beard have been quick all season, usually quicker than Jenkins, so they could yet still run him down. Brandon Schoen and John Garrett as well could be threats, but Schoen has not shown up to every race of the season. He's got to get back into things if he wants to try and compete for the crown. And of course, for viewers who haven't watched this series before, I believe we have some race details. Rocco?
Yeah, Joe, we are going to look at the details of the race. It's round 10 of 20, halfway through. Dallara IR05, the throwback Indy model. We're going to do 200 laps around here. That's a lot. That's a lot of negotiating. These guys get one fast repair and then our running custom fix setups, which are determined prior to the race by the race stewards. Also, a lot of rule changes that we'll get into during the broadcast, Joe. A few little adjustments to some of the league rules. Shake a few things up and should provide us some interesting tweaks to the action we see tonight.
Certainly hope so. Well, we still have a little bit of action here in qualifying. Right now, Chris Lanini holds the provisional pole. These drivers get 2 laps out there by themselves to try and put one in. As we are watching Eric Jeffers right now, currently work his way on his first lap He just came out of his warm-up lap, and then it's right into it. Very little time to get things up to speed. Let's see what the first one does. For the number 4, it's a 16.715. That'll put him in 12th. Can he go faster on this next one around? Not much to it on these qualifying laps. They go by so fast. And it's a 16.3. He does pick it up, and that's actually going to put him on the second row. So the number 4 goes to third.
Yeah, like you said, Joe, you really see them tested because there's not a lot of time. Every little mistake counts on a short track like this. 16.2 run by the leader at the moment. Not a lot of time, like as you said. You hit the nail right on the head. It's just up, and we see the spin here from Galvin, trying to push it a little bit too much.
Ooh, we caught the car, but he's not going to barely be up to speed by the time he gets to the start-finish line, I imagine. So even this next lap, there's not going to be much to it. This one, obviously, even though it'll count 23 seconds, that's amazingly puts him in 19th and not 20th of the 20 of put times down. Crumry must have had a serious issue behind him. So as he comes around on his second lap, is this at least going to get him in the top 10? Maybe. We'll see. 17th, 2 is going to put him only in 18th. It's just not enough in it.
Man, definitely challenging himself tonight. Wants to drive through the field, so...
I don't know if he wants to, but he'll have to if he wants a good result. Now, Rick Ravon, has already completed his 2 qualifying laps. So he's essentially just out here practicing, although it looks like he's slowing it down now. So he's done with his qualifying. Matrizion is just getting started, though. Although, well, once again, very slow here. And that first lap did not count, so not exactly sure what the number 19 is doing. He's on his second lap, and he's still slow, so maybe he's just trying to get a lap in. This is unusual.
They're qualifying, Joe. That's what they're doing. They're establishing their starting positions for this race. So,
yeah, I guess no matter how fast they go, that's what they're doing in the end. Ravon just continuing on. That is everybody in the qualifying, even though we've got 2 minutes left. Jake Wright could get out there. I'm trying to see. There's really not much point for him staying in. It's dark out, so he's not really waiting for a cloud. So I assume that he's just basically going to start from pit lane. So let's call it a day then on the qualifying and give our pole award to Chris Lanini here today with the number 92 car. He is the top qualifier in the Top Qualifier Championship, which is brought to you by D2 Race Designs. They specialize in creating personalized and customized sim racing peripherals, as well as providing the RC racing community items that make their days at the track more organized and efficient. The season's top qualifier will win a customized button box, all thanks to the kind folks at D2 Race Designs. Now, for that championship that they are hunting there, Brian Beard, currently coming in, holds the top spot, 60 points ahead of Paul Jenkins, who's being very closely chased by Dan Guerin. You got Jeffers and Burke rounding things out among those top 5, but quite tight here this late in the season among them. That'll bring us, though, to our starting grid for today. Let's go through that order with a relatively small field here, but should be just as exciting. And Chris Lanini on the pole, followed by Justin Kirby. Right behind him, we've got Eric Jeffers starting in third. That'll certainly help his qualifying championship hopes because he was ahead of Brian Beard, who was only good enough for 4th today. Jenkins with a top 5. Can he repeat that in the finish? Can he finally get his first win this season? Travis Bennett will be starting in the 6th position with Big Joe Hassert in P7. You got Jeff Wubker in 8th position, followed by Andy Urick in P9. And Gaston Ariano rounds out your top 10.
That's right, Joe, and Hassert, a past winner in this series this season. Rick Ravon just shy of 10th spot in 11th, next to Richard Swavely, Bluin, and Jordan Mandigo, 13th and 14th spot. Row 8th, we have Diego Asensos and John Garrett. Row 9, Hugo Galaz and Jason Galvin. And then row 10, we have Julio Campagnone and Paul Crumry in the 20th spot. And then in the 21st spot, pulling up everything behind, we have Jake Seawright. I'm not sure if he's starting or not.
Well, he's still in the session, and it looks like he is lining up on the grid. So I think Jake will uh, take to the race here for the 200 laps we have in store. Before we get to the pace lap, let's go over our two spotlighted drivers here today. They are the number 19, Christopher Matrizion, and his number 19 IndyCar. And there you see his on board. He'll be starting from 21st toward the back. And then we've got the number 96 as well. That is Robert Bluen, who will be starting in 13th, solidly into the mid-pack, just looking over his shoulder. And of course, our spotlighted drivers are brought to you by Midwest Simulations. You watch the track, we'll watch the rest. Use the promo code THROWBACK for $5 off of a set of their Spotlights visual spotting system. Find out more at MidwestSim.com. You talked about how we had new rules here today, Rocco. One of the big ones I think is interesting that might come into play considering we have a short track that's tough to drive is the 2 strikes rule is what they're calling this one.
Right, Joe. And the way it's being described to us is that if you are found to be the cause of 1 and 2 cautions, you will be parked. Your night will be over. Now, I'm assuming that these decisions will be made by stewards that are watching the race. It will be interesting to see how some of it plays out because we're bound to see a little bit of tussling going on. It's just bound to happen. So it should be interesting to see if any penalties are doled out and how they are, if we see any.
Absolutely. And now the other new one kind of tangentially relates to the cautions is they now have tire limits in this series, a new feature introduced on iRacing in the last build since we last called one of these races. So I'm kind of curious, especially with, how many G-forces are going to be putting into these cars and these tight corners, if that's going to be a real key factor in who comes away with the victory.
Well, yeah, Joe, the real Richmond is obviously a very abrasive surface. It's going to eat these tires away pretty quickly. The speeds are going to try to be pulling around the tight corners. 5 is the limit, and that does count what they have on their car right now. So essentially they have 4 sets sitting in the pits. It's a new addition to a lot of iRacing, so we're all getting used to it, and it's going to be fun to see the interesting new wrinkles that it presents in the race.
Absolutely. So I have to keep an eye on, see who's got anything left when it gets towards the end of 200 laps. The pace truck leading them around the second pace lap is going to release them once they get around and out of 4. And Lanini will have control of the field. What kind of jump is he going to get? It is nice and cool with the sun being down at 75 degrees Fahrenheit on the track surface and a bit of wind here today that will certainly make it all the more tricky. So as the pace truck is in, Lanini waits, and he's on the loud pedal. Green flag is out here at Richmond, and he doesn't get the greatest of starts. Look at the high side there for Justin Kirby, already trying to challenge him, and he carries the speed well. Kirby's going to take the lead away on lap 1.
Really strong start by Justin Kirby. He was on it from the go. Much better jump than Lanini got on that green flag, Joe.
Jeffers already looking to the low side as well. Lanini from 1st to 3rd on the first 2 laps, although he gets a good run. Looks to the high side as they come down into turn 3. That red, white, and blue car, though, of Eric Jeffers is going to hold on to it. Already pulling away Justin Kirby up in front of them, still battling side by side for second as well for 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, and a good start by all these guys, keeping it clean, getting it through these turns. We see Lanini losing his first couple spots from the get-go. Hopefully he's going to pull it together. We see them almost 3 wide back there. A lot of action going on between second and about we got someone in the wall.
Already our first caution as Jeffers is in the wall. No caution thrown yet, though. He's still going. He's trying to get out of the way. Oh, we got a car spinning, so that should be it. And that's Diego Ascensos. Still no caution.
Wow, very lenient on the cautions, Joe.
Oh, and they hit each other.
They got to throw the caution. There's a car backwards on the backstretch.
There it is.
There's the caution.
Well, that is really unfortunate for a few drivers. As we also have Swavely in there, and he's been in there for close to a minute. I'm not sure what caused that. Let's take a look at the first incident. It's with Eric Jeffers, and they went 3 wide like you were just talking about.
Right, 3 wide on the top side, and just a little too aggressive trying to get his inside line. Threw him into the wall. That's a tough one this early.
That was, looks like Paul Jenkins actually that made contact with him. And to his low side, that was Travis Bennett. They were all fighting for position. And then trying to come back, I think it almost looks like he was trying to find an opening so that he could get down to the apron and get out of the way here.
Yeah, then we have the spinner in front of him, the 6 car, and he's trying his best to get out of the way. And then he spins again. It's just a lot of chaos. I'm going to take a ride on board with the 6. Gets a little piece of the inside apron, and that's death at a place like this. You're going to go around, and he did keep it off the wall, but I think we saw him get into... Yeah, see, oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, Jeffers just lost it at the wrong time, unfortunately, and it was a comedy of errors. So I doubt either of them are laughing too hard. We do have a spare car in this series, so Swavely seems to have taken his, and Jeffers is in and out with his fresh machinery. But he's now 2 laps down. Swavely's 4 laps down. Ascensos is a lap down with his issues in the number 6. That leaves us with 19 cars, rather, on the lead lap. And I think we should have a short caution.
All right, Joe. So they've introduced a new wrinkle. So now we get to talk about it. Who gets the penalty for that first caution? It was the first caution under their new rule. Who gets it? What would you think? The guy on the outside or the guy in the middle?
That's hard to put blame on someone. Is it? Can they have like shared blame? Can it be sort of half and half? Because
I feel like you'd have to kind of set a precedent in your first caution. You gotta give it to someone. That's why you made the rule. It'd be interesting to hear the chat in control room right now.
I'm kind of half listening, trying to see if we can see who they're gonna put it on here.
I mean, because it was tough because a lot of the contact happened after, normally a caution flag would have been thrown. So, little late on the flag, perhaps caused a little extra chaos. Interesting to figure out how they sort this one. Early race drama.
Very early, and the lights are still on. I think they'll be going off this time by. We're going to restart on lap 11 here.
Lights are still on, Joe.
Lights are still on. All right, we got confirmation. They're putting it on the number 33, Compagnoni. Now was he even involved in that?
Well, he's in the pits.
Yeah, he did take a pit stop.
Maybe he caused the initial caution?
Well, he wasn't in that 3 wide situation. I'm checking to see. I do not see him involved in any of this. Okay, well,
it
we'll
looked
have
like
to
he
get some
did avoid
clarification.
somebody on lap
okay.
2.
We're getting clarification. It's the number 6. So we were just fed some wrong info, unfortunately. There, we were about to be, yeah,
it's the same car. Come on, guys.
All right, so it is the number 6 that's Sensos who is going to be getting it.
Alrighty. Back at the front, we have Justin Kirby, who inherits the lead. Great start by him. Chris Lanini looks like he got it back a little bit together, staying in second spot, and Travis Bennett rounding out your early top 3 after your first little tussle.
This time for sure, we're getting going once again on lap 12 here out of 200 under the lights at Richmond. And Justin Kirby this time, can he get a better jump than Lanini did? Or is Lanini going to be able to pay him back and reclaim the lead? Green flag is out. Kirby is on his way. He gets a very good run here down into turn 1. A little bit of a look from Bennett, but nothing doing it side by side. Back for 4th place. Beard to the inside of Jenkins. He's going to hold him off. In fact, Beard's under attack as Joe Hassert and it's Rick Ravon are going to be able to go through.
Yeah, a lot of action there. A few past race winners in that pack trying to jostle early, get some early running position. You'd think these guys are going to try to fall single file as soon as possible and just put in some laps around this track.
That would certainly be my theory if I was in the cockpit, but easy to talk from up here A lot more difficult being down on the track. Top three are starting to break away as we now hop on board with the sixth-place driver, Joe Hassert.
Yeah, he's just sticking to that yellow line. Found himself a little bit of a gap in between some cars. Again, smooth driver. We've seen him win actually a race a few weeks back. So hopefully he can repeat that effort here at Richmond.
We're starting to get those calmer laps in. That single file restart seemed to do it because the double file certainly kept them busy. Let's head back to Jason Galvin, though. Remember, we were saying he's going to have to work through the field. He's doing it right now. He's up to 11th with a pass he just made on Ariano.
You got a little piece of the apron there, and you see how much that just disrupts your momentum.
Oh, still, look at him off the high side. Carries his speed. That's Jake Wright just behind them, and Wright as well likes the high side. In fact, oh, it got a little squirrely there for Ariano. He's going to lose 2 more. Now he gets passed by Crumry, and I think he might get overtaken by Mandigo.
A lot of action early on. These guys are doing it well, though, keeping it clean so far.
Man, you mentioned the momentum before, and Ariano is suffering. Does not like the low side. Kind of surprises me because I did not think this was really a high side sort of track.
Well, you figure that the high side would come in after a few laps, but I don't know. 19 seems like it's really early. We take a look here. Blue and someone's around. The 11, Ariano. We were just talking about
wreck.
him. Oh, he collected a couple people, but that was unfortunate. The tail end came around right into the wall. There's the caution flag.
And caution is out. Hugo Galaz is the one that got a piece of him, I think the biggest piece of him. There's a very lucky escape for Eric Jeffers, which I'm sure he's grateful for considering he's already lost one of his spare cars.
Yeah, and Joe, you were just talking about it. Just more apron. Just couldn't overdo it, and cooks it and goes around.
Watch Jeffers' perspective. He's almost going to go underneath the car, I think. Let's see. This is his helmet cam. See if he ducks.
Whoa!
The car that hit the other driver there, trying to remember who it was. I called it before. I think it was Galaz. Yeah, it was Galaz that made the contact.
Oh. Unfortunate there. He had no chance. That's just one of those things.
Okay, so looks like they're going to give that one to the number 11, which is Ariano, who had the initial spin. That's 2 cars, 1 strike now.
A lot of these guys looking to take that first set of tires. Excuse me, Joe. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Fine. And actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I did want to mention that. How many, is it time to take tires this early?
I think it's monkey see, monkey do. I think the leader did, man. You just do it. I figured if you do the math and you're getting 4 sets of tires, you want to ideally probably break it up into quads. You get about max 77 laps out of a tank of gas. So interesting strategy early on. Maybe these guys are just not used to conserving yet.
Well, it's 5 sets still because you start with your 1, so it's 5 different stints. Hold on, we're doing math on GSRC. This is a dangerous thing.
Yeah, live television math is not good.
Spoilers. So it's 40 laps per stint if you're splitting it up evenly. That's if you want to separate that all evenly out. But if you want to save them for the end, they can go just about 70-some laps on a tank of fuel on a green flag run. So I don't know. I feel like this one's kind of a take it as it comes sort of thing.
I feel like there would be a significant drop in race pace if they did go that full stint on that 1 set of tires, though.
Interesting note that sounds like Ariano is also suffering from a few problems with his knee. So he is going to retire even though he had a spare car, just not able to take the physical limitations. It might not be real racing, but I can attest you can wear your body out doing this.
There's been some very famous real-world racers that have mentioned that there's no fear in sim racing. Well, there's an example. You could still get hurt doing it, so take that, professionals.
Well, I don't think he got hurt doing this. I think it just complicated an
Let
existing.
it go, Joe. We like sounding tough. Come on.
Yes, yes, there you go. As we are riding on board here behind the pace truck, still Kirby is still your leader. Highest car to have pitted is Ravon. He's back in 13th in the number 1 machine. So he's got 12 cars on older rubber. This will give us a good idea. 7 seconds. Yeah, that should have been a tire stop for him, I believe.
The lights are out, and something to note: we've seen some delayed cautions tonight. Wondering if they're trying to let it go, if it's a single car or maybe a couple cars in it. But these guys are going to have to be on their toes and look ahead of them and actually see if something's happening before they're told in their ear. So interesting to see how they negotiate that.
Well, I'm kind of okay with that. That forcing drivers to be a little bit more careful seems like a good thing, especially on a track like this and these cars. As the pace truck is now in, and Kirby gets another shot at restarting. Very good start for him. Lanini under threat. Bennett pulling in behind him, but doesn't take a look. Back there for 4th, though. Joe Hassert ducking down below Jenkins. Once again, that low line just not doing much for many of our drivers.
It seems like it's a real struggle to keep it down there, and I can only imagine it's probably working the tires and it's slower. Not where you want to be right now. These guys want to be close to that wall.
Finally, he gets it done, though, so I guess Hassert managed to do something with a low line that gets him into P4. Top 3, because of that battle, are starting to break away. Kirby, Lanini, and Bennett.
Yeah, we probably will see these guys start to pull in on one another. These throwback cars just have that big air profile, just pulls everybody behind you. But right now, it's a nice, solid start from Justin Kirby. He got a great start on the initial green flag, and he hasn't looked back since. Lanini holding strong, too. Sometimes you kind of go back if you lose the pole, but he's been holding up there in second spot really strong.
I think all the crew chiefs are watching Ravon right now because he's already made up 3 positions. We're only a couple laps in here. He's working on Jake Wright. Let's see how many this can get him. Maybe he's stalled out now. Maybe it's just a couple laps of a quick burst, and then you settle into what everybody else has got.
Well, yeah, Joe, a lot of acceleration and deceleration in some of these restarts. So a lot of jostling early on, but we see these guys finding their own spots on the track. Like you said, just cruising a little bit, hoping to get some of these laps in, get some heat in these tires, and maybe put together a nice, fast green flag stint.
Yeah, he looks a little stuck now because he hasn't been able to make any moves on right. Up ahead of him, you see those 2 cars battling. That's Galvin and Uric. Jason continuing to climb. Remember, he started in 18th with a botched qualifying, and the newsman has got himself into the top 10. How much higher can he go, though?
Well, so far he's going the right way, so we'll see. Plenty of time to know.
You're right about things settling in now. Our 18 drivers on the lead lap are just all pretty much single file from here. Continue to watch Galvin poke his nose here and there. Oh, there's a dive down into turn 1. Can he keep it off the corner? Ooh, a bit of a bobble for Yerk, and that's going to give the spot away. Galvin up to 7th. Here comes Wright. He smells blood in the water, and he's going to make a go at it. He's into the inside, and he's got it as well.
Just some good, clean racing there. A couple passes, and also good for Yerk to let him go by like that. He put up a little bit of a fight, and he said, not yet, guys.
6 already. So those drivers who are looking for an even stint up at the front are starting to approach. How long you want to go for that? And back from Galvin, that Wright and Jerk. And we got a taker. Hugo Galaz. Green flag stops for Hugo. Interesting.
I feel it's early, but okay.
I'm kind of with you. I'm not sure. He might have gotten some damage. Remember, he's
out of the car, Joe.
Oh.
He decided to get an Uber off the track. I don't know where he went.
So sad to see him also retire a little bit early. Let's take a look at P4 because Travis Bennett Paul Jenkins and Brian Beard are still quite close together. Here's the trio on screen now. That is Bennett up at the front in the red and white. The orange and black is Jenkins. And Brian Beard in the red and white. Red and black.
Sorry, I was just commenting on the tightness of all three of their lines, actually. We know how differently these cars act when you're actually following someone. It's a little squirrely back there, so these tight lines it's a lot harder to do than it looks.
Now, with us finally getting a decent green flag run, I will note that our leader is starting to approach some of the back markers. 3/4 of a mile is not very long to go. As we hop on board with him, that is Campagnoni, who we see in front of him.
And Campagnoni trying to stay on the lead lap. He will up, and he gets a piece of the apron in front of the leader. Wow, that was close. Second place. Oh, they got to throw the caution. He's too high up. Oh, they got to throw the caution.
There's someone farther down the backstretch that I saw wrecking too.
No flag yet. No flag yet. There it is.
Flag. Now what? I'm trying to figure out. Oh, that was Ascensos as well. The 6th with another one. There's Campagnoni.
Did they both spin at the same time?
It was close to the same time. Ascensos was just ahead of him. You're gonna watch it from above, see.
One and then second. It wasn't exactly synchronized. A little bit of gap for dramatic effect, but both of them ending up in the wall. And
couldn't quite see the other one there from that angle, but that was Yoni, excuse me. And well, perfect timing. Lap 45. I think we're getting pretty much everybody in.
Yeah, that's exactly where it falls. We don't have to do math, thank God. It's pretty much what we're expecting. It would be more shocking to them to see them not pit right now than to see them actually come. So.
Well, how shocked are you? Because Ravon didn't and Matrizion didn't. And this is, let's see, 23 and 22 laps, and Crumray as well, I should add to that. All of them 22 or 23 laps on their stints.
Now, we have seen these guys exhibit some really good skill, but I think that's ambitious. I think these tires are going to be a little worn.
Okay, we have the right car this time. The 33 now has a strike on him for causing a caution. He is in pit lane though. He's had to take a tow, and I'm not sure if he took a spare car because he's been
I don't
there a
think
while.
he could take any more strikes. He looks like he's been struck enough.
Well, they have the spare car. It's just I think he maybe forgot to check the box because he's been sitting in there way too long.
Yeah.
So he could get back out, but he's going to be many, many laps down.
Yeah, and a track like this, it's just every other lap you're letting the entire field go by, and it gets rough. It makes a long night.
Only every other lap they're going by? It just struck me. Sorry, I couldn't resist. So now that we've had everybody stop at least once, Hassert comes out behind. Oh, well, somebody pit in when we weren't looking of that top group. Rivon and Crumray are still out there. Who else? Who was... So Kirby's out behind them. Hassert's in 4th, and Bennett is in 5th. Who was the third car that we mentioned that was with those top 3 before? I'm trying to remember who that was. I had lost track of them immediately. I'm getting too old here, Rocco.
Yeah, I feel you. I understand that. So we'll just chalk it up to being old. I can go with that.
That's my excuse.
Man, just put a lid on the Campagnoni situation. He did come back out of the pit, so I think he eventually got word that he's still able to go. He's being scored though 3 laps down in 19th spot, but we'll see what he can do for the rest of the night. Long night ahead of him.
Waiting for the lights to go off on the pace truck. We are already down to 19 cars left running and only 16 on the lead lap of our 22 starters here today. We're actually almost a quarter of the way through the race, though, so it's going relatively quickly here, Rocco.
Relatively, yes. I agree. Not too bad. I don't have any way of seeing exactly what kind of speeds we're averaging, but I'm satisfied. But there's also been some good stints of action too. So far, pretty entertaining runs of tonight.
That last run was definitely our longest green flag run. So let's see if we can extend farther than that, as the pace truck's going to dive in once more. And Ravon this time has control. He's on the loud pedal fast. Green flag is out. Jeffers nowhere to be seen. Back for fourth. I think that's Joe Hassert easily getting by Justin Kirby. Kirby going for the over-under, though.
Yeah, we see a lot of that jostling early on, right after the green, and it's so apparent how much the lead car has the advantage on these restarts. You just see the gap that Ravon opened up so fast in one lap, and we see a big battle going on between fourth, fifth, and sixth.
Yeah, that's Hassert still fending off Kirby, who's trying to come back at him, and finally he gives up the ghost. But Hassert down to the inside of Crumry. Remember, he's got fresher tires. He's able to make good on it. Ooh. Wow. That was Bennett having to take evasive action and then some.
I like it when they get that close and they pull it off.
Now, we talked about Jenkins' consistent results. He's in sixth right now, looking for fifth as he's on the underside of Crumry as well. He took tires, so he's back in the thick of things, having to survive some of this chaos. Is his consistency going to serve him well here today? He's managed to hit the top five now.
Yeah, these guys really moving around right now. They got to remember, though, there's still a lot of time left, and they go three wide.
Yeah, that was with Galvin, Beard, and I think it was Wright. No, it was Crumry. Wright is now getting under Crumry, and he's going to drop him. Boy, Paul is just... He is not going anywhere right now. That number 3 has lost a lot of positions. He restarted in second. He's down to ninth.
Yeah, Joe, and these guys, we see a little bit of flashing going on through a couple of them. These guys really keeping it tight, though, but some close moments. Interesting to see how they shuffle in, trying to follow in single file. Looks like they're starting to achieve that. Maybe. Oh, we got a spinner in the back coming out of turn 2.
That's Lewin? No, that's Matrizion. And caution's out. That is the number 19 that unfortunately lost it. That was all on his own. This was the apron again. And the car that just snuck underneath, that was Bluin in the 96. Let's watch on board his view.
Whoa! Wow.
Heads up. Very heads up.
Taking another look at this one, Joe, just to see how close he
slow-mo
came.
this one? Yeah. I want to see this.
He's going to jump into the frame. Oh, wow.
Barely avoided that one. So this is another car that's going to have his first strike. At least I think it's pretty safe to say that we can put that one on the 19.
Yeah, we'll give the 19 the strike, and we'll give the pucker to Bluin.
Okay, so I was curious before that caution how Ravon was going to do with the cars behind him on fresh tires. But now he's had to come in, and he's giving up a whole heap of track position with this late pit stop. So,
yeah, I'm not sure what he thought was going to happen.
Well, maybe he thought he had a long run.
Right. Even so, like I said, I felt it was an ambitious move, but again, we've seen him win races, so far be it from me to question. But interesting to know. It'd be interesting to see if he's in the booth later on. I'd like to ask him about some of the early race decisions.
So, let's see. Do we have anybody else heading in pit lane? I thought I saw someone. That is Jeffers. Jeffers coming down. He's a lap down. This isn't NASCAR, so they don't have any lucky dogs in this series. Now, we do have, however, our spotlighted drivers. Let's go to the number 19, who's back on the lead lap, Matrizion, and see what it looks like looking at the entire field effectively in front of him, save for Jeffers, who just comes out of the pits. Not sure if we can get that spotlighted on board. Guess we don't have that camera ready then. And then our other one was Bluin. Where is Bluin right now, actually? Is he still in this race?
Yeah, he's scored right now in 15th.
That's right, because he just ducked under that incident. So he's right in front of Matrizion. So both of our spotlighted drivers not doing so hot.
Well, sometimes that spotlight gets a little hot.
This good.
I gotta get it out. No,
Yep,
not really.
good metaphor
I appreciate. No, it wasn't.
And the pace truck looks like the lights are still on, so we're going to go a whole nother lap here. Got some time for the drivers to try and regroup and figure things out. Lap 60 now, out of 200. The Throwback Indycar Series, presented by Midwest Simulations, who sponsor our spotlighted drivers, has put on some exciting racing.
Yeah, we have 16 cars being scored on the lead lap going into this next green flag stint.
That's what it was last time we restarted, so at least we didn't lose anybody there. Here, I think we've got our onboard now. All right. With the lights off and Joe Hassert in the lead. He was a hard charger last time. Kirby's behind him, though. Kirby has led some of this race before this. Green flag is out, and Hassert is very good. Looks like Kirby's not going to have much for him. Very single file. This might be one of the more calmer starts we've seen.
Oh, yeah, definitely controlled. I think that's the name of the game here. We don't see anybody really pushing. I think guys are starting to learn a little bit. Stay away from that yellow line. You don't win when you go below the yellow line, and I think a few of these guys are learning that. We see some
one driver. Oh, and Rayvon is around.
That track position. Oh,
nope, he's not. Rayvon's still straight. No caution. Wow. I was just going to say he's going low, and he paid for it, nearly losing it. Oh, he may have got a little help from behind, it looked like.
I think so, and he's got the front end of the field catching up to him now. He's going to have to recover. He's struggling, though. Something's wrong with that car.
Yeah, something must have got touched wrong. Yeah, wow. What a bad move for Rayvon.
Oh, and he spins it just a little bit extra, getting back into the pits. That's rough.
Kirby has caught up to Hassert. Question whether or not Hassert could hold back, who seems to have been one of our quickest drivers so far today. Now we're going to find out the answer to that.
Kirby all over him right now. Wow, we missed that run while we were watching Rayvon. Close that gap quickly. Wow.
And you talked about how difficult it is to run in the wake of the car ahead, but Kirby seems to be handling it quite well here.
Yeah, if you could stay with the guy in front of you and not get a lot of that turbulence, it could be a pretty smooth ride. And it looks like that's what he's doing. He's staying right behind him. We see him get a little outside of the wash there, and but as long as he stays within his wing, it's a much smoother ride than if he gets that bouncy air from outside of it.
And even though, I guess...
Oh, and he got a piece of the apron. Oh, he's going to cause a wreck, too. He's in the wall.
Hits the inside wall, but he's off the racing line. No caution yet.
Kirby's around. He's under the apron. He's missing his front wing.
And there he goes. Now he's around. We're going to watch the replay. He's lost his front wing.
And they're going to keep it green, it looks like.
The second front-running driver has found themselves put laps down and is going to have a lot of hard work just to get a decent result today. This is great for Hassert, who's now 2 seconds ahead of the next car, which is our championship leader, Paul Jenkins.
Yeah, Joe, and that's unfortunate, when the stewards decide to put their foot down and make you not the yellow flag this time. So that's we'll see what happens and how this plays out, and if they actually hand out a penalty since there wasn't any caution.
Could give him a penalty because to cause a caution, yellow has to come out. Meanwhile, as we ride on board with Jenkins, there's a bit of a battle happening for 6, and this is championship implications. This is Brian Beard and Jake Wright. Beard is the one fighting Jenkins for the top spot. He's already well behind him, so if he loses another position, that's going to be more points being given away.
Yeah, and both of those guys sneaking up to the 92 of Chris Lanini, obviously our pole sitter. He's been keeping it strong up front, but he's been passed by a lot of cars. But that battle between Beard and Wright's
And
definitely
we got
getting
a
a little
big
heated.
it's Paul Crumry.
Oh,
It's the number 3. He's on his lid. This has to be a caution.
all right, inside on the apron, still no flag yet. That's
No caution. No caution. So they have very brave stewards who were able to run out onto the track and retrieve that upside down car.
that's the fastest crane ever.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, he got help. Who was that he caught? See if I can dig that up here. Figure that out. That is Jordan Mandigo in the 44, who half spun in front of him. Seemed to get the least worst of that incident because he's still on the lead lap and still running.
Yeah, and I think the message has been sent that the cautions will not be waving freely for the rest of the evening.
Got another spinner on the backstretch. Oh, and it was Mandigo. He's still going, though. And it looks like he's going to have to come into pit lane. He must have gotten some damage from that.
There's some good racing around 4th and 5th spot. I'm not sure if this is all for position right now, but these guys are pretty close to one another.
That's Lanini, Bennett, Beard, and Wright. That is all for position. Closest are these 3 fighting for 5th, with Bennett in the red and white, Beard in the black and red. Then 3rd in line, that's Jake Wright.
Watching Big Joe go around some of these lap traffic. He's still finding himself up front, 2 seconds ahead of the leader, or 2 seconds ahead of Paul Jenkins in second.
That last restart, remember how you said there were 16 cars on the lead lap? Already down to 12. They're dropping like flies.
Ooh, the leader just got held up severely by some lap traffic. That's going to close the gap significantly. He had to hit the brakes really hard.
Yeah, I think it was Crumry trying to let Justin Kirby and Hassert through, and well, Kirby picked the right way, apparently. Hassert was not happy on the radio.
No, I don't think he would be.
Well, actually, no, wait. He is... no, he's in the lead. Sorry, I forgot Kirby's not on the lead lap, so he just got a lap back there. Hassert's still your leader, excuse me.
Kirby's been fast, so right now caution's his best friend, but I don't know if he's going to get one. Seems like it's going to take a lot to see some yellow.
Yeah, and he's 2 laps down, so he's really going to have to stay out, hope for a few cautions in quick succession, and then save his tires for the end to really try and blast through the field. So far, the driver with the most pit stops out here that's still running is Robert Bluen, 5 stops, and he's in 11th. Close to Matrizion, who's had 4 stops, and he's 1 position up in 10th.
Bluen has had an eventful evening. We've seen him involved with a lot of interesting interactions tonight.
Let's watch on board one of our spotlighted drivers here, brought to you by Midwest Simulations, the number 96 of Bluen. See what he sees just on the roll bar of the car to show you how fast they get around this track. It amazes me that these actual cars raced here. I know oval racing is dangerous, and I'm a big fan of Indycars, but this just seems bonkers to me.
Oh yeah, this is a small track to have these cars out there. It's fun to watch though. Let's take a look at 5th spot, Joe.
Yep, that's with Brian Beard, and looks like he's gotten by Travis Bennett since we were last looking. So I wonder if we could get a quick replay on that pass. Looks like he just got a good run down the front stretch. It is right here. Yeah, off shot off the corner. 7-Eleven car up to the high side. Doesn't defend. Sends it in deep, and Beard is up to P5.
Yeah, and that's a good move coming in that tight on the corner with tires this old. It's a nice little pass on that. Some good skill on display.
In fact, Jake Wright, while we were watching that replay, has overtaken Bennett as well. The 14 kind of moving backwards. Cars who are moving forwards are guys like Jason Galvin, who has gone from that 18th position up to 3rd. And Jake Wright, actually, himself, is one of our big movers from 22nd to 6th.
But yeah, if you put yourself in a good spot, you avoid some of the chaos early on, you can find yourself moving up the ladder pretty quickly. And he's driving pretty strong, too. He's catching up to some of the slower cars up in front of him. And this is for position, actually. This is a tight little battle that just showed up while we were looking at it.
Yeah, that's Lanini, who's being caught by Beard, along with guys such as Wright. But there's a lot of lap traffic in there. That's what's complicating this, is they're trying to just run their race and complete laps and pick up positions if others have issues. But at the same time, there's very little place to go when you start finding leaders coming up in your mirrors.
Yeah, it's not like one of the big tracks where you get a lot, if you're running out front really strong, you're not going to worry about passing too many guys. Not at this place, 16 seconds a lap. You're going to keep coming up on that lap traffic lap after lap, and it's going to become a question of endurance. We're almost halfway through here, and we still got 100 more laps to go.
Endurance is a very good word here today. See who can manage that as we watch Galvin now putting a lap on. No, trying to take a position from Paul Jenkins, and he does it. Second place now for Jason Galvin.
Yeah, using that lap car is a little bit of a pick. It was a slick little move he made.
We've got quite a long run going now. And a lot of these cars up at the front have only made one stop. So they have a little bit left in reserve in terms of tire at this point in the race, since they've certainly put more than an average of 40 laps on each set.
Yeah, and again, we spoke about it earlier on, about a 77 max lap on the fuel tank. Without taking tires into consideration, you do have to pit at least twice.
That's under green, though, too.
Yeah.
We're on lap 56 for our front runners since their last stops. So they
that's gonna,
yeah, they
that's
can
gonna
go a
be
while
interesting
longer.
if it goes green, though.
Yeah, that'll be impressive.
If it goes green, that's gonna that is right there with those numbers. Wow.
I feel like it'll become a blinking contest. Who closes their eyes first? Who goes in for fuel? Will that sort of call pay off?
Yeah, trying to get into the mind of Joe right now. Just like you said, ticking off these laps, hoping that lap traffic cooperates. Now, most of the lap guys down, or guys a lap down, there's only 2 right now. They're only 1 lap down. So there's really no reason for any of these other lap cars to try to fight for position. So it's just going to be basically Joe against himself here.
And we're on board with Hassert here. So we follow him around. Pretty open track. I mean, that seems to be what serves him best, is just when he's got this clear air. Galvin, even with his speed, is still 2.1 seconds behind him.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to look at the steering wheel on these cars and see. We see that he hits turn 1 right at about 6th gear, and then downshifts into 5th to get those high RPMs and pull it through the corner. And then he gets it to rotate.
Now we've got a little bit of a battle for 3rd, and Jenkins, who's been falling downwards, seems to have lost his tires. That, or maybe he's conserving them. Lanini easily by.
It'll be interesting to see.
We got one taker down on pit lane, but he's a lap down, and that's Jeff Wubker.
I think it's a little late
trying to
for
make an
Jenkins
early
to be
call.
saving tires.
We are past halfway. Galvin is now in clear air. He was dealing with all that traffic that Hassert was. This is when we really got to watch these two to see how they fare when it's an even fight between them.
Yeah, nice clean air, wide track. It seems wide when there's nobody around you. And we see him going into the turns at 140, 145 miles an hour before he gets back on the gas. And it's just a matter of muscle memory, and it's just a matter of putting that car. We got
And
a
we got a
yellow
caution.
flag.
That's Bennett. He's on the back stretch. Not sure. Oh, he did have some help.
We'll take a look and see who got into him.
He started to spin, and poor Eric Jeffers, who's already taken his spare car, gets caught up innocently and gives him a good thwack.
And we saw it again, Joe. The apron.
Just getting too low. I almost feel like that was the longest green flag run we've had yet.
Yeah, it felt good. They were spread out. A lot of guys would have lapped out, but it was also helped by the fact that it did seem they were a little reluctant to throw some cautions there.
That's true. And from on board, we could see the severe damage on the left side of Eric Jeffers' car. I fear his day might be over because I can't imagine that thing is going to handle when it's at speed.
Oh, and watching the add insult to injury, I'm watching Travis Bennett try to get into the pits. He was all off-centered with the damage. It was just, it's kind of a calamity. I think he does have a fast repair, though. I think he's coming back on track. And just to finish it up, it looks like that the 14 is going to get the strike for that caution.
Yeah, that would be Bennett. Okay, Garrett stays out. John Garrett stays out. Who is going to be our first off pit lane? Joe Hassert wins the race off of there. Jason Galvin comes out in second behind him, and Lanini in third. So pretty much how they were before. Jenkins fourth. Yeah, no changes there amongst the top drivers. With that pit stop done, we've got a chance to take a quick breather here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll come back with the second half here of the United Championship Online Racing Association's Throwback Indycar Series. Welcome back to Richmond Raceway. Green flag is back out here on lap 116, and Joe Hassert leading still after these last set of stops. Pretty much everybody came in for tires. Jason Galvin following him in second. Jenkins already under threat after he managed to sneak back into third on that restart. Chris Lanini trying to go underneath him, but it doesn't seem like it's working.
I see Galvin really up on the back end of Hassard here. I think he's seeing that this is his opportunity to maybe get around him. Doesn't want to let Big Joe get away from him again.
Yeah, and before we were waiting to see if he could catch up to him. He doesn't have to catch him now. Now he's got to try and pass him, which is a whole different beast, as we like to say in racing, as he washes up high. Galvin definitely feeling the effects of that big buffeting coming from Joe Hassert's number 10.
Yeah, and sometimes you just don't know when it's going to hit. Sometimes you get that little extra and you feel that back end want to step out, and you just got to do your best not to overcompensate.
I think the wake is too much for him. He's fallen off. So not working out here for Galvin. He's got to go early if he wants to try and make a move, or maybe use some of the lap traffic if we get back to it under another green flag run. Behind him, though, Jenkins and Lanini stuck together like glue, trying to sort out third position. You see him heading down the back stretch. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's fine, Joe. I was just going to say the 17, we see him trying to force Lanini to go him around the outside. He's trying to stick to that yellow line, but we've seen it all night. That yellow line's been jumping out and biting guys.
Almost wonder, since it does seem relatively calm here now, if it is worth trying to maybe open up the corners a little bit. What do you think, Rocco? Maybe save tires a little, hope for a long run?
Well, I think they've kind of gotten past that threshold now where you'd have to worry about your tire limit. So I don't know if really saving the tires is on these guys' minds right now. I think it's just limiting the pit stops. I mean, as we said, if it had stayed green when we were talking about it, it would have put us in a pretty precarious spot. But right now we're looking at it, and again, doing the quick math, what? Guys needing to come in about lap 180 if this goes green?
I think you're right. If they stay out for a full fuel run, boy, John Garrett's got his hands full with Rick Rivon, who's trying to get his lap back. Rick is finally going to get by him. I think the number 1 car is doing all he can to try and get back on the lead lap, but it is going to be a long haul for that to happen.
Yeah, and we saw Rick Rivon trying to do a little bit of a different strategy play on the first set of stops, and ultimately ended up putting him a little back in the field that he wanted to be, and it was that lack of track position that allowed him to be in that bad position to get caught up in that accident.
He's 2 laps down, so ways to go. Now, the car that you just saw go underneath Garrett there, that is Justin Kirby. He's 1 lap down. Where are the leaders compared to him? Oh, they're almost a full lap ahead, so Kirby's not really in a great position either. But he does seem fast. I almost wondered if he had the ability to potentially try and get himself back up in contention.
Well, yeah, you got the bugaboo of being a lap down, and like you said, it's not NASCAR. You don't get that lucky dog. I'm sure a couple of these guys wouldn't mind being a lucky dog right now, but again, for a lucky dog, you need cautions, and, you know, I like the green flag racing.
I do too. A lot of people do, except for lap down cars. So things really settling in here.
Oh, we had someone get in the wall in the infield. Looks like they're going to keep it on the grass, but I'm not sure who it was. I think it may have been Rivon.
Rayvon, unfortunately, clipped the outside wall, I think. He washed out big time. Decided it's better to just swallow his pride and took a tow and call it a day.
Yeah, at this point, it's, do you really want to fight this track for 70 more laps to finish 20th?
Yeah, it's been a hard night for him. It's really not much point, I think, from here on out. Meanwhile, we're going to check out Lanini's battle, who's still stuck behind Jenkins. But they're now being joined by Jake Wright as well.
Yeah, we saw Jake Wright. We saw him put in a good performance in Watkins Glen. Seemed good to see him following up here with another strong run.
Though curious, there's only 9 cars left on the lead lap. So it continues to be very difficult to stay with the leaders here on such a short oval.
Yeah, but Galvin's making a fight of it. He's not letting Nasser go away as quick as we saw him get away in the last stint. Big Joe's still got a bit of a gap, but it doesn't look like it's coming as easy it was last time out.
They are coming up on some of that traffic. That's Campagnoni up ahead of Hassert. He's going to stay high, though. Joe's going to make it relatively easy. Compromises the line, though, of Galvin off the exit of 2.
You hate to see that happen, but on such a short track, sometimes there's just nowhere to go, and you can't always drive in your mirror.
Can only do so much. Didn't hurt Galvin too much. He's still about half a second behind. Didn't swap anything around behind them either. Lanini still chases Jenkins. They're continuing to try and push through. And for that championship situation, Beard is in 6th on track. Jenkins running 3rd. Watching on board Brian, last round's winner.
There we see our championship leader there. Nice strong run. I mean, you're not going to lose the lead in a standings finishing 6th spot every race. It's just not going to happen.
Well, he's got to be in the lead of the standings first, and that's the issue here. Is that Brian is trying not to lose points to Jenkins, who's a couple positions ahead of him right now.
It's catching me. I always got the names mixed up. I forgot our point leader.
It's okay. Well, it gave a good chance to illustrate to our viewers what's at stake here for Beard. So we take a look at Galvin, who closes in suddenly. When did this happen? And he's going to take a little bit of a peek, but he gets chopped.
Big time.
He's going to lose it. He's trying to catch it. Everybody's coming up behind him, and that causes a big wreck. And Jenkins is involved.
Wow, Joe, that was destructive.
Caution's out. Who's going to get the blame for that one? Because that one.
Let's play. It looked like Galvin started it because he seemed to get a little bit loose after his attempt at the pass, but we'll have to confirm that.
And he caused the others to have to try and check up and avoid him, and that's
Looks like Lanini got pinched.
Yeah, as Jenkins was slowing up, and Lanini tried to shoot the gap, and it just did not work out for either of them. Lanini's got to have some damage, and Jenkins definitely got the worst of it.
Take a look from up high here.
As for Jenkins, is he should have a spare car. Is he taking it, though?
Oh, yeah,
he's going to go a lap down. Oh, I know we're on replay, but I'm watching live, and I think... Oh, did Jenkins make it? I think he made it, because that's not our leader there. That's not Hassert in that purple 33. That's Campagnoni. Excuse me, red, white, and blue 33.
He's being scored currently on the lead lap. I'll have to see. Definitely having to let everybody go by. Maybe he's going to the end of the line. Maybe he did make it.
Yeah, I think he got sent to the end of longest line. Still waiting on stewards to hear who gets the strike for causing the caution.
That's going to be a tough call. I don't want to have to make that decision.
Yeah,
I just want to talk about who does get it.
It's a lot easier to be in our shoes right now than theirs. So Hassert still leads. Lanini is now 2nd from that. Jake Wright gets bumped to 3rd. Galvin fell to 5th. And I don't think Galvin hit anything, did he?
No, Jenkins lost a lap too, Joe.
So still waiting for word. Brian Beard is loving that because Beard now not only is promoted to 4th, but his main championship rival is caught a lap down and is multiple positions behind him.
I'm surprised to see Chris Lanini still out there. I don't know if he uses. He looked like he got a pretty wicked shunt there.
We get a close up here for the number 92. and see if there's anything from our angles in terms of damage. I'm not seeing anything. He might
That's it might be a little bit of luck there. I mean, he's been
have
that
smiled.
we've seen Les put some guys out, so
And the 42 gets the blame. That is Galvin. And even Galvin was on the radio before they assessed that, putting his hands up, saying he feels he deserves that one. Now he gets on the radio and blames it on Joe Hassard. Oh, boy. So at least they have a good sense of humor about things as the lights finally go out on the pace truck, and the car of Campagnoni gets another lap back, or I thought that was Campagnoni.
yeah. Sometimes we
Excuse me,
forget
that
that when we're
was-
doing this, Joe, that it's all for fun.
Absolutely. We're out here playing a game and having a race,
Oh no, it's
and a very hard time in life for a lot of people.
We
So
are participating in a motorsport simulation, Joe.
that's what everybody likes to say. But Joe Hassert likes to say green, 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 because that flag is out, and he gets a very good jump. Lanini behind him has Jake Wright, who is a known fast driver, already trying to see if he can use something while the tires are fresh here.
And
Not getting up
all
on behind him yet.
apologies. Sorry, Joe. All apologies later. Galvin's still in the 5th spot.
Oh, Matrizion. Matrizion in the front stretch is in the wall. No caution yet. I think they're going to keep it green.
It looks like he's
But
able to
Chris-
get it down.
Yeah, he's on the apron, so they're going to keep it going. Oh. As our director likes to say, the push is real. And Matrizion learned it the hard way. Everyone's settling in single file up at the top of the field. Galvin now at the back of the 5 instead of second place. He lost some track position, but I think the important thing I have to imagine under the helmet of that number 42, Rocco, is just thinking, I'm still in the race. I still got a shot.
Yeah, you got to reprogram yourself to do the same thing you've been doing for the first 110 laps. It's no different just because you made a mistake. So it is. You got to get back into that mindset of I'm fast and I'm good enough, and just got to fall back into your line. And just to update on Matrigion's situation, he did use his fast repair. He's on his way out right now, many laps down.
We have lost a few cars. Ariano, Galaz, Swavely, Jeffers, and Ravon are our 5 retirees so far, as Jake now looks to the inside, gets a run. That's what he needed. And Lanini's not going to fight it too hard, or is he? He's going to try and come off the corner better. Still has a little bit of a nose in. Does Jake Wright continue the fight? He's going to push the issue.
He might not, but it looks like Beard wants to.
Ooh, yeah, Beard spies an opportunity. He's given the low line, but he's pinched down a little bit. Oh, those cars are getting very squirrely as they take the most out of those tires, going side by side here. And here comes Galvin now.
Almost 3 wide.
2 by 2 here on lap 154. And Jake Wright is going to complete the pass finally. Lanini now trying to hold off Galvin, who manages to get by Beard.
Lanini got a piece of the wall, little piece.
So he's going to have to work with a damaged car side by side with Jason Galvin. The newsman moves up to the podium. Quick work from the 42. You talked about reprogramming. Boy, what a rush through those 2 cars.
Yeah, and good on him, able to put that mistake into the back of his mind, have a short memory, and still be up here battling again. And he's only 1.6 seconds behind the leader.
Wow, impressive stuff. Galvin is clearly one to watch. And he's still under threat from Brian Beard. Beard has a good opportunity here to do something with this race.
Whew, Hassard getting a little loose, a little squirrely out front.
Let's see, they're on 15 laps into the stint. Tires shouldn't be too bad by now.
Well, definitely cost him a few tenths, within 1 second now, right?
We're 3/4 of the way through this race now. Less than 50 to go. Wright is is in a hurry, though. Look at this. He's
Mm-hmm.
down to 0.8 of a second. Now, we've seen this before, that guys have caught up and then stalled out. So curious to see what happens once he actually gets to the rear wing of the number 10.
Yeah, Joe, it's that air you were talking about. It's just so dirty behind somebody. You get caught in that wake, and all that momentum you have, you just all of a sudden it's just not there anymore because you're getting pushed in all many different directions.
You can see the battle there behind them for third, still relatively close. Galvin leading Lanini, leading Beard, but they are giving each other a little bit of space.
I've been watching these times between first and second spot, and it looks like it's been coming down about a tenth every lap, consistently for about the last 5.
Let's see, we've got 40 laps to go plus 20, so that's 60 laps. So they could theoretically get to the end if they stay out. If this stays green, I have to imagine it's such a short track, it's not worth trying to go in and take tires.
Oh no, if you pit under green, you're giving up 2 laps easy.
As Joe Hassert continues to lead the way with Jake Wright and that number 77 giving chase. It's down to 0.5 of a second. He is definitely faster.
And he's right at that zone, Joe, that you've been talking about. We'll see how he negotiates it and see if he can punch his own hole through some of that turbulent air.
This is one of the best battles right now. So watch our 2 leaders play chess. Do have a little bit of something brewing for 6th with Andy Yerk. Actually, Garrett just got a good run on the backstretch. We're right on board with John now. A little bit of a wash up wide out of 2 from Yerk is really causing Garrett to lick his chops. Now they come back through 1 and 2 once again.
Yeah, Joe, we see what you were talking about earlier, but just it's that high line. You just don't want to be stuck there. And we see here that Garrett's going to try to sneak his nose just to let him know he's there on the inside, but it's really just a single line, maybe line and a half track tonight.
And not a whole lot of variation. Everybody's just stuck. A little bit of follow the leader. He's getting very close, though. If he can set up that run, I think Garrett could maybe sneak into 6th. Easier said than done, though.
Yeah, and we're just looking back up front here. Hassert, he's making it an adventure. As we're seeing that back end kick out a few times. He got in the wall. Hassert got a piece of the wall, definitely.
We get an onboard replay there with Hassert. See if he actually did touch it or not, because it looked very close. This is coming out of 4 that it happens. Oh, yeah. He clocked it. Oh, and Chris Lanini made a mistake. He's in the grass. No caution.
Keep it clean on the inside. Looks like he's going to keep the caution away.
He must have hit something because he immediately pulled over and took a tow. Oh, another one. Boy, these long green flag runs, we're seeing a lot of drivers seem to do this.
Mm-hmm. His tire's getting melted, and we're starting to see a challenge for the lead.
This is the closest it's been for a while. Jake Wright manages to look to the inside of Joe Hassert. He's fully ahead, but can he carry the speed off of it? Hassert has it better. It's going to continue here into 3 and 4. That is right, in the blue, white, and yellow car on the low side. The green, blue, and black. That is Joe Hassert. Still fighting. Big Joe not willing to give it up, but he finally has to. Is right. Claims P1 with 25 laps to go.
And then, of course, in 3rd spot with a little bit of, hey, remember me, Jason Galvin creeping in right behind Joe Hassert.
Boy, this will be an incredible run from either Wright or Galvin if they finish on the podium, anywhere on the podium here today.
Well, I think we're going to see a little bit of cat and mouse here. I don't think that's the last we've heard from Joe Hassert. And as you said, Galvin is just laying there waiting to pounce. So this is just will have to be something different or nice in the last 23 laps.
Now, though we've had people go close to that amount in terms of laps on a tire stand. I don't think they've gone, as a look to the inside from Galvin. Has the best gone out of Hassert's tires? Because that's 2 in succession that he's now lost. I was going to say, what happens at the end of this stint for our drivers that haven't experienced that many laps of green?
That's a lot of laps. We're seeing our top 4, 36 laps. They came into the pits 36 laps ago. So at least they're all even. So it levels the playing field, and we can actually see exactly how each guy deals with it in his own car.
See, this is honestly what I was thinking about more when I mentioned, do you try and save tires? Because on a long run, if you've got fresher rubber towards the end, not from a pit stop, but just from playing it cool, I feel like maybe that's what we're seeing from Wright and Galvin.
Yeah, and it just seems that these guys have really tightened up. Last time we saw them at an oval, it was a little sloppy. But tonight at Richmond, they've been tight, and a lot of green flag laps, and we've seen that strategy come into play. It's been really cool to watch.
The field sadly hasn't been quite as tight because we only have 7 on the lead lap, and make that 6 because Robert Bluen is into pit lane. Oh, because he didn't stop this last time. He was on 69 laps since he last got fuel. Oh, that is a sad day for the 96. He's going to wind up multiple laps down here, having to make a green flag stop.
And Jake Wright is just checking out, Joe.
Yeah, it is up to 1.1 seconds over Galvin, and it's a quarter of a second back to Hassert. Beard? Nope, that's not Beard. That's Kirby trying to get a lap back.
Yeah, Kirby's been fast. I mean, if you don't look at who's a lap down and you just look at it by positions, I mean, he is running 7th, and that's a solid run.
In fact, he is right now the first car a lap down. So if we do get a caution, even though that's going to stick him on very old tires, I have to imagine he is going to stay out, get that lap back. Bluen, though, trying to stay out of the way. That's why you're going to see that slow car up high.
And Jake just pushing it through that air and trying to chalk off this last 13 laps, trying to bring himself home another victory.
1.3 seconds now over Galvin. He's extending it. Jason put in some really hard work, and I'd say a second place is a good reward, but every driver wants to win. It's got to be a little bit bittersweet knowing he was that close to maybe getting up to the victory.
Yeah, but again, it hurts a little bit, but a great run from him, starting from the 18th spot. And, I mean, it's not over yet, but he looks like he's in a solid spot to maybe claim that second spot tonight.
Speaking of drivers that maybe need to pit late here, Diego Ascensos is on lap 77 of his stint. He has really saved some fuel here. Now, he is 4 laps down, so I'm not sure. I mean, he's going to have to come in. There's really not much to gain, and he's going to lose a couple spots, but at this point, he can't. I don't think he can make 10 more laps here, can he?
Not much to gain, not much to lose either, Joe.
Down to 10 to go, and now 9 to go for Jake Wright in the number 77. But was this the lap traffic? It's down to a quarter of a second here.
I was just going to say that, Joe. I just happened to look up and was like, oh, there he is. He's not done.
Yeah, that's Matrizion, who held up both of them a little bit. Looks like Wright got the worst of it because Galvin is now 0.8 of a second back. He snuck through a little quicker.
Now, I can't hear what they're saying, but I see chatter from Galvin, and it just so happened to be when he was going around that slower car. I wonder if he had some words to say.
Well, they were letting the lap cars know that the blue flags are enforced here in the final few laps of the race. I'm trying to remember exactly how many laps left.
When Galvin getting a little too deep, a little bit in the apron, now he's around. Oh, unfortunate.
He's going to lose second to Hassert. Can he get the car going? He's come to a halt. Oh, and he tows it. Oh.
Tough to see
5
that.
cars left on the lead lap now.
And that pretty much ensures that Jake C. Wright is going to have not much of a battle on his hands, except for the lap cars that he's trying to make his way through right now.
Yeah, 2.7 seconds back to Hassert. How about Brian Beard up to 3rd here?
He'll take it.
Yeah, I'm sure he's loving this. It does, however, promote Jenkins up to 7th. So
and we saw some contact in the back. Cars in the
was
wall.
Garrett that was stopped to the outside.
Oh, that's
no caution yet. I think they're going to keep it green, since otherwise that would end this race.
4
Let's
cars
see what happened
are
to
being
Garrett.
scored right now on the top lap.
Oh, just washed out.
So it looks like our post-race interviews will consist of everybody that finished on the lead lap, Joe.
Just about. Down to 4. Gonna get the white flag this time by Jake C. Wright in that number 77. He wasn't always up at the very front. He wasn't at the point, but he was hovering around those top 5. He was keeping himself in contention. He kept out of trouble. We thought that would be a major talking point today. And after 200 laps, your winner here at Richmond is Jake C. Wright.
Nice win, Jake.
Hassert with 2nd. Brian Beard with 3rd. Yerk, the last car on the lead lap. Kirby wound up the first car lap down, but with a top 5. How about that? All right. Well, that is going to be it for at least a moment, but we've got more show yet to come. Stick around, because we'll have driver interviews as well as the unofficial results, all in our Rogue Energy post-race show. Stick around. Welcome back to Richmond Raceway. It's time for the Rogue Energy post-race show. Rogue Energy drink is designed to replace unhealthy canned energy drinks, coffee, and even traditional pre-workouts. Rogue Energy is sugar-free and loaded with vitamins, antioxidants, and nootropics. Scoop, shake, drink, win. Excuse me. Use promo code UCORA Indy to get 10% off of your purchases at rogueenergy.com. Apparently, I need one myself right now. And our results today were an interesting one. Jake Wright came in and won from 22nd, dead last on the field. Joe Hassert wound up finishing second, even though he was leading much of this race, just didn't have anything at the end of that green flag run. Brian Beard wound up third, and rounding out the podium, he could take a good chunk out of that points lead here with that finish. Andy Yerk was the last car in the lead lap with P4, a bit anonymous from him today. Justin Kirby, probably wishing for things to wind up a little bit better. He was a lap down, but he at least climbed his way to fifth in the end. Paul Jenkins minimizing the damage, coming home in sixth. That's another top 10, but another driver a lap down, trapped, and could have had more. Robert Bluin was P7 with Travis Bennett in eighth, both of them 3 laps down. And then when you get to ninth, it was Matrizion 4 laps down, and John Garrett back in 10th.
Yeah, Joe, interesting to see such a short track. You get these weird, anomaly type stats. 11th spot, 4 laps down. Jeff Wubker, followed by Mendigo in 12th, and Ascensos 13th, who was assessed a penalty earlier on in the race. Galvin had an adventure. He finished in 14th spot. And then guys double digits lap down, but still up there, 15th and 16th, Campagnonian and Crumry. And then we had a few ending up on there from 17th spot on. We had Lanini, Ravon, Jeffers, Galaz, and then Swavely and Arolano were some early exiters from this race.
We've got our second place finisher ready to talk to us, and that's Big Joe Hassert, who was certainly up at the. Oh, we've got Jake Wright with us, our winner here, ready to talk to us in the number 77. Jake, we were talking and speculating about saving tires potentially, and I kind of wondered if maybe with green flag run would make that pay dividends. Did you back off a little bit at the start or at that last restart? And is that what allowed you to catch Joe Hassert in the end?
I backed off a little bit, but I was giving it my full effort on that last run. Just kind of during the race, I was trying to find that rhythm, and after every restart, I was kind of picking up spots here and there, but during that last run, something clicked, and the car was just, it went where I wanted it to go.
Like it, you caught everybody and made it look pretty easy toward the end. With the new tire limits, did that enter your mind at any point on when you played out your pit stops or when you took tires in those pit stops?
It did a little bit. It kept me from pitting outside the window, so that my thought process was just, if I have to take fuel, then take the tires as well. But it didn't play a huge factor into it, especially with how the tire wear was tonight. It wasn't terrible, so it wasn't like you had to go in and take tires every stop or anything. But it did play a factor, and I tried my best to save them for as long as I could.
I'd say that you saved them pretty well, and that's a well-earned victory on what is an incredibly difficult track. I mean, how do you rank this one here at Richmond in terms of tracks that you're good at? Is this a specialist one for you, or is it sort of average, or do you hate this
I
place?
don't know. I've seemed to have luck here in all the leagues I've run. It's always been one of those where I struggle at first and something happens in the second half of the race. Over in Lionheart, I got close to winning here over in Lionheart once. In the Premier Racing League back a few years ago, I was able to pick one up here in the stock cars. So it's one of those where it's always treated me well. So
Treat you well tonight. Congratulations. Anybody you want to thank for this victory?
yeah, I want to thank all the guys over at LPM. I haven't been on the service lately, but since coming back in, they've kind of welcomed me into their team. So I thank them, and thank Scott for putting on a great league, and I thank you guys for broadcasting it.
Well, thank you very much. That was Jake Wright, our winner. And now Rocco is the actual one who has caught up with Joe Hassert, our second place finisher.
Hey, Joe, second spot, ran up top the whole night. General thoughts? How'd you feel? Was it a rough one tonight? Pretty physical?
Yeah, had to put a lot of wheel into it to get through the corners. I didn't. I knew I wasn't the fastest guy out there, but the clean air made a big difference. Getting to the lead, I think was just some luck. A couple guys spun, a couple guys wrecked, and then kind of threw it away there with about 20 to go, and I scraped the wall. I actually got damage, unlike Indy. So I was kind of hoping for a caution to try to redeem myself, but coming home second, having my teammate finish first, it's a pretty good night for us.
Yeah, you mentioned the cautions. We noticed in the booth that there seemed to be the first few cautions seemed to be a little delayed, and then it seemed that there was a general just non will to throw the caution flags. Were you guys advised of anything pre-race, or was this discussed? Because we did talk about some of the newer rule changes on the broadcast.
Yeah, we didn't figure it out until I think it was the second caution that we threw. That I guess it was manual yellows only. Maybe something with the beta UI, but Scott after that was right on him. Had somebody checking all the spins to see if it impacted traffic or not. So once we got through the messes at the beginning of the race, race control did a good job the rest of the race.
Well, it was good, see them get everything situated, and glad you weren't involved in many of those. So, second spot again. Any shout outs? Anybody you want to thank for being out there?
Just thanks to my teammates for running with me, keeping me company, having a good time. Thanks to shout out to Jason Galvin for giving me second place for hitting the apron at the end there. So yeah.
Great stuff, Joe. Well, we've seen you win. We saw a strong run tonight, so congratulations. Look forward to seeing you again.
Appreciate you.
Second place finisher, Joe Hassert. And we've also got our third step on the podium, Brian Beard, who is going to take a chunk out of that points lead in the championship. Brian, it's not a win, but does it at least make you smile knowing that you've pulled a little bit closer to Jenkins now?
Absolutely, especially at a place like this that I'm not good at.
Oh, interesting. Well, and that is it's fascinating that you point that out, because I did notice that you weren't really on the podium until pretty late in the race. Were you kind of trying to take it safe and just trying to stay out of trouble?
Yeah, I struggled quite a bit tonight. Really, I started to kind of come to life when the fuel got a little bit low in the car, and then felt like it was a little easier to handle for me. And when I started catching Joe there at the end, and so I started pushing a little bit harder, and then compliments of Mr. Galvin, I ended up on the podium anyway. So
yeah, sometimes you got to take what you can get, I suppose. Next round, though, they are heading to another oval, Gateway, and talk about a difficult track here. That one is known for throwing up a lot of frustration. Are you kind of not looking forward to that one as well? Is that another damage limitation race?
no, I'm actually okay with Gateway. This one's just, Richmond seems to be the place I struggle a lot. So
Out the other side, then, is there anybody you want to thank for this podium?
yeah, congrats to Jake Wright and Joe. They ran great races. Series sponsor and my sponsor, 94 Motorsports, Rogue Energy, Do 2 Race Designs, Midwest Simulations, and Scott for putting all this on, and thanks to you guys for broadcasting.
Very much. That was Brian Beard, who finished third here today, and I guess he wasn't even expecting to finish on the podium for what has proven to be a very difficult track. And that's going to close us out here for the Rogue Energy post-race show. A big thank you to them for sponsoring this post-race show, and also thanks to the other sponsors of the series, Midwest Simulations. Again, their promo code is Throwback if you want to check out what you can get from them, and D2 Race Designs, who sponsors the Pole Championship. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts are listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Rocco, Sean, and Doug. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Or also check us out on social media, where our Twitter is @GSR Channel, Facebook is Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram is GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support us, we've got a merchandise store. It's gsrc.storenv.com. If you don't want to type that out, it's in the link in the description below. And while you're down there, click on the big red button that says subscribe so that you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. It's off to St. Louis, to the middle of the country for the next race. That'll be July 2nd, next Thursday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. 2 Thursdays from now, actually, I should say. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.